Hi, everyone. Welcome to another live broadcast of the F Words of Life. Happy May 1st. It is the first of the month, and that's always an exciting day because it's an opportunity to start something new, right? It's kind of like, hey, it's a new month. I've got a new focus, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's perfect timing. So happy Wednesday. Happy May 1st. I hope you're having a brilliant day. It's sunny again in San Diego. I get cranky after 1 or 2 days of clouds, so there's a reason I live in sunshine. And I hope that you're having a beautiful day no matter where you are. And for today, I want to start by saying thank you for joining me, whether it's live or on the replay. I certainly appreciate it. Say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here, that you're watching. Like I said, whether it's on the replay or the live broadcast on Instagram and Facebook, we are streaming live on social media for today's episode of the F Words of Life. My name is Brenda Reynolds, and for the past 3.5 weeks, we've been going through a process called the FWORDS RESET. And if you haven't downloaded your guidebook, it is still available at thefwordsoflife.com/FWordsReset. You can go there and you can download it. It's absolutely 100% free. And this is week 4. Today is day 18 of 20 days that we are doing of this process. And so I congratulate you on getting this far, staying committed to yourself, to do a little daily bit of self-care, self-education, getting yourself inspired and fired up, and having tangible tools that you can use each day to level up your life so that you're living your highest potential and being the best version of yourself. And that's really what this live broadcast is all about, and what the F Words of Life is about. So if you're not familiar with the F Words of Life, there's 7 main F Words of Life. They're the 7 main categories of your life. And you can go to the FWordsOfLife.com to find out more information on that, and even download a free assessment if you would like to see how you're doing in your F Words of Life. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on the path. We've been working on our formula for success, right? And our formula for success, we first evaluated where we're at, because really you can't get anywhere unless you know where your starting point is. So we looked at your starting point in week 1. Then in week 2, we focused on visions and goals. Last week, we focused on mindsets and beliefs and really busting open some limiting beliefs. And this week, we're tying it all together with actions and habits. So how does your behavior influence your thoughts and beliefs, and how do your thoughts and beliefs influence your habits? Because they absolutely do. So earlier this week, we really talked about how your identity is connected to whether or not your behavioral changes that you want to make will be successful or not. And that's really a key component. This isn't about just jumping in and trying to change behavior. It's changing from the inside out is the optimal, most successful way to make these behavioral shifts. And so when you do that, sorry, I have a little bit of an itch. So when you do that, it becomes easier for those habits to stick, because you're changing your internal identity, and then those habits, those new routines that you're doing, match up with your new identity. And so it's a both and, not an either or. We're not just going to, sorry guys, my nose is really itchy. Okay, so live TV, right? No cutting it, there's no editing, it's just live. That's how you know I'm live, because you'll get a goofy moment every day. So today, what are we going to focus on? Yesterday, we talked about the current habits that you have, right? And everybody has autopilot things that they do. Think about your morning routine. You don't even think about it, do you? You know which order that you do things. You know in which order you do things. And so, for example, you get up, you go to the bathroom, and then the next thing you do is you turn on the shower. That may be the next thing that you do. That may not be the next thing that somebody else does. The next thing somebody else does is they turn on the sink because they're going to brush their teeth first, right? And so you have an order in which you do things. And that's really important to understand, that you already have this built, and we're going to leverage that so that you can create the new behaviors that you want in your life moving forward, okay? So what happens is, we're jumping right in, so hopefully you're ready. By the way, notebook, pen and paper, as long as you're stationary and you're able to take notes, please do so. And by stationary, I mean not driving. Even if you are watching this on your cell phone while you're walking, I encourage you to pull up your little notepad so you can type in some notes and take some notes. So you want to capture this in your notes because you'll have takeaways, and then we're going to have a specific to do, as we always do. I'm your coach. You're going to have an action step to focus on at the end of this. So what happens is when we say, hey, I want to implement a new behavior, I want to exercise more, I want to eat healthier. Those two things are great. Well, the problem with them is they're way too general, way too vague, and they don't have specificity and clarity to go along with it. And so until we get that clarity and truly get a specific plan, your follow through is going to be really challenging. Okay. And especially if it's something that's brand new to you or you haven't done in a long time, like exercise. You know, if you haven't had a routine exercise pattern and you want to implement one, just saying you want to exercise more, or even I want to exercise 3 times a week, it's still too vague. And so the first, you're going to get 2 specific ways that you can get more specific. 2 specific systems, if you will, on how to integrate new behaviors into your already existing patterns, okay? The first one is to get specific, okay? That's the really important key takeaway, is to get specific. What do I mean by that? Well, when you have a specific plan, like I said, you're much more likely to follow through. And so a specific plan is basically, I will, and what's the behavior? And by the way, I mentioned this the other day. Sorry, just had a cat run by. Sorry for the shaking of the table and the cameras. I have read the book Atomic Habits, as well as multiple other books on creating habits, the power of habits. That's actually another book. But I've really been going back and looking at Atomic Habits and how he outlines all of this. And so some of this is definitely from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, which I highly recommend. If you don't have time to read the book, that's why you show up here, because I'm going to synthesize multiple sources and bring them to you in a way that's easy, bite-sized, that you can consume on a daily basis. So that's one of the things that I love to do. That's one of the things that I do in this industry in terms of being in personal development, is bringing the resources to you so you can learn and grow in an easy and fun fashion. Okay, so this sentence I did take from him in how he does the sentence structure, because I liked it and I like the system. So basically it's, I will fill in the blank of your behavior, the new behavior, that the new habit that you want to create at blank time. Okay, so you're going to fill in the time in specific location. Okay, so you're getting very specific. So let me give you an example. I will meditate for 1 minute. Now, I'll come back to this in a minute, okay? I will meditate for 1 minute, that's my behavior, at 7 a.m., okay, specific time, in my kitchen. Because I know I'll be up, I'm going to be doing other things, that's when I'm going to do that. Now, you may go, Brenda, what is the point of meditating for 1 minute? Well, let me ask you this. If meditation is something you always wanted to do, or you've wanted to try, or you've heard the benefits of it and you've never done, or you don't have a current practice where you're doing it at all. So how many minutes a day are you meditating? 0. So 1 is a significant increase over 0 minutes. And so sometimes what we need to do is we need to create the power of habits through using these little micro habits. And like I said, we're going to talk about 2 systems. One right now is we're just talking about getting specific. What's the behavior, what's the time, and where are you going to do it? So let me give you another example. I will walk around the block, right? That's one thing, at 5 p.m. in my neighborhood, okay? That's something very specific. Now, if I get out and walk around the block, I may end up walking 1 mile, 2 miles. It's getting the momentum going, right? But it's saying it at a specific time. What is the behavior and where are you going to do it? So that's strategy or system number 1. That if you are implementing a new behavior, and this may be something you're doing daily, this may be something you're doing once a week. So especially if you're doing it once a week, you need to know exactly, I'm doing this on Wednesday at 6 p.m. every week. This is the activity, this is the time, and this is the location. Okay, just like if you were making an appointment, you're getting that specific down to all of the necessary details. That's really important in implementing a new habit, okay? So the other thing that does is it helps you stay on track by prioritizing it. If you've got it scheduled like that, then it helps you say no to outside distractions that may throw you off track. So that's another benefit of being very specific and having this very actionable plan. Even if it's a 1-minute activity, you have to create the time, the place, and what the actual behavior is that you want to do, okay? Now, let's level it up a little bit. What we're gonna do now is talk about strategy number 2. And you can use both of these, and they're both very useful depending on the new habit that you're implementing, okay? No behavior happens in isolation. So again, let's go back to your morning routine, right? You take a shower. You first, what do? You wet everything. This is, my routine. Wet everything down. First thing that I do is I grab the shampoo bottle. I shampoo, okay, I rinse. The next thing I do is I put conditioner in. While that's sitting, I wash my body, right? If I'm shaving, whatever, we won't get into the details of that, but ladies, you know what I mean, right? We're going to do these things in a specific order. If you've ever tried to change your morning routine up and do them in a different order, does it feel just like you're completely lost? Same thing, you get out of the shower, you've got your toiletries, right? What are you going to do first? Are you putting on your moisturizer? Are you putting on your deodorant? You're putting on your perfume? You're putting, you're combing and you're brushing your hair. You've got a ritual around this where one activity triggers the next one, triggers the next one, triggers the next one. So your brain already knows how to do this. You've already wired it. The question becomes, do you have really good autopilot systems written into your head, or do you have ones that are neutral, or do you have ones that actually are holding you back from getting to your goals, which is what we talked about yesterday, identifying the ones that you currently have, and then just, are they contributing to the identity and the person that you're growing into, that highest and best version of yourself? Are they holding you back? Or are they neutral? Because there are going to be neutral habits that you have. But the idea behind this is that one behavior leads to the next behavior, to the next behavior. So if we've already have this kind of written into our brain, that this is how our brain operates, can we then make it intentional? And the answer is yes, 100%. And the process for that is called habit stacking. And I've mentioned this word a couple of times, and some of you may know what it is, and some of you, this may be a new concept and a new system for you, but it's really simple and brilliant, because sometimes the brilliance is in the simplicity. Now, it's one thing to know something, it's a different thing to actually do it and implement it. Everybody knows, right, they should work out for 30 minutes a day. It's a whole different story to actually do it. Hey, Luna behind my head. Don't knock anything over, please. So you can go, yeah, Brenda, I know that, okay? But what I want to go is, yeah, are you doing it, okay? And how well are you doing it? And if you do it well in one area, are you doing it well in all 7 F words of life? Because again, I'm teaching a holistic framework. Yes, you have to focus on one area at a time. You have to focus on one behavior at a time, but I don't want you going to the gym, right, and being the gym rat guy who only works on his arms, and his arms are like this and his legs are itty-bitty, right? That's what I want you to think of with the F words of life. We're working on all of our different areas at different times in different ways, okay? So habit stacking. How do we do this intentionally? This is why I had you make the list yesterday of your current habits. So if you haven't done that, I want you to make a list of your current habits, everything that you do in part of your morning ritual, everything that you do when you get home from work, everything that you do during your day, right? Some things are going to be more consistent and steady, and other things are going to have more variety. Look for the things that are consistent and steady, okay, for this one. If you have a job and every day you get home at 5:30, give or take traffic, right? You have something that you do as soon as you walk through the door that's part of your ritual. Okay. If you don't, that may be something you want to implement. And so, but we know you're going to walk through the door at 5:30, right? That's the current habit that you have. So habit stacking is taking a current habit that you have and adding a new habit right after it. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to identify the current habit and stack the new habit right behind it. So basically, just like shampooing my hair triggers me to rinse it, triggers me to condition it, right? Each one is a step-by-step process. that I've done so many times, it's just ingrained and it's on autopilot. So what does that allow me to do? Well, oftentimes, and this isn't, being too personal, but oftentimes in the shower, you'll get your best ideas, right? Your brain will start going different places because you're not thinking about what you're doing physically. That's the reason autopilot programming is so important in creating these new habits, because once the pattern and the habit is ingrained, you can move on to something else. Again, where we fail is we try to take on too many at one time, and then they don't become automatic, right? They're always taking intentional effort. So we focus on 1 or 2 max at a time so that we can get that one ingrained and then stack on top of it and stack on top of it and stack on top of it, right? And you could have a stack of 40 different things. We're not going to go up to that many today. We're going to talk about stacking 2, 3, 4 things together. So what you're going to do is you're going to stack. You're going to say, okay, after this, I will this. Okay, again, this comes from Atomic Habits by James Clear. I always want to give the source of this, that I took his verbiage, his word pattern that he did, his fill in the blank sentence, which I call a system for stacking, right? Is you take your current habit. So here's a current habit, not mine, but let's do an example. Okay, so we want to work on our relationship with our significant other. So we want to add a new habit into that category of goals. Deepening your relationship, that's on your vision, is to 10 years from now be as passionate and hot as heavy as you are today, right? So what I'm going to create is, after I get into bed every night, right? That's my current habit. I do that. I will give my partner a kiss. Now, this may be a ritual you already have, but it may not be. It may be something you want to adopt, that just by giving your partner a kiss at night before you go to bed is a way to stay connected, right? Just a sweet, gentle kiss. But you see how it's stacked, right? I get into bed. The next thing that I do, the trigger, is I kiss my partner goodnight. Okay, now that's super simple, isn't it? It takes, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, if you really want to go for it, right? I mean, these are easy, but could you see how by doing that every night, again, it's one small action that if you ritualize it, you have it consistently, it's a habit, it stays in front of you to stay connected to your partner. They're not just, the parent of your children, right? The other parent of your children. They're not just the business partner. They're not the person that just drives you crazy, right? It's important. So let's talk about another one. Give you another example. So if you, every morning, one of the things that you do as part of your morning routine is make yourself a cup of coffee, or you make yourself a cup of tea. Hopefully you're not making yourself a Bloody Mary every morning, but you're making yourself something, right? Or you're going to drink a big glass of water, and that's already a current habit. So the key to this is finding a current habit that you do and then stacking the new one after it. So after I make my cup of coffee, I will, okay, Luna, you just fell. You all right? Cats, live TV people. All right, I will sit down at my coffee table and write the 3 things that I'm grateful for today. Okay, very specific. After I make my cup of coffee, I will write 3 things that I'm grateful for. Maybe I have a notepad in the kitchen instead of going to the living room. Again, these are your habits, so you must customize them for you. I want to give you ideas. So if you're not currently writing down gratitudes, where in your day do you want to do that? Okay, maybe it's right when I get into bed, the last thing that I do before I turn off the lights, right? I will write down my 3 gratitudes. Your journal needs to be there. Your pen needs to be there. You need to be able to do that. Writing them in the morning immediately puts you into a mind frame of gratitude, right, for the day. So right after I make my cup of coffee, I will write down my 3 gratitudes. Now, let's say on top of that, you've nailed that one now. Writing your 3 gratitudes is now ingrained. It's a habit. You've done it for 14, 21, 30 days, 66 days. There's different studies that show the amount of time that you need to get something to stick. It also depends on how big and how out of your comfort zone it is, all those different things, how many other distractions that you have, how many things you're trying to implement at one time. That's why I say implement one thing at a time. If you do one thing one thing, imagine at the end of the year where you could be. And I believe it was Tony Robbins that said, we underestimate what we can do in a decade, but we way overestimate what we can do in a year. It's like, go for the long game, people. Don't worry about the short. If you focus on the long game, and getting to your ultimate destination by doing the little things, that's where the magic happens. It's so frustrating, I know, because I get frustrated too. It's like, God, why can't I do that one little thing? Because I know stacked up over time, it's where the extraordinary happens. So what else? So what I was saying is, okay, so now we've nailed writing down our 3 gratitudes. So now I'm going to stack one more new habit onto that. After I make my cup of coffee, I write down my 3 gratitudes. I've got that. Now I'm going to add in, I write my 10 realities. Hopefully you're writing your 10 realities. And then if you don't know what I'm talking about, that was in the visions and goals training of writing down the statements that need to come true to manifest your 10-year vision. Okay. So you're going to, again, you're stacking each one of these so that they're together. Let's give you another one. Let's say one of your goals is you want to become a reader. We talked about it. It's not just about I want to read more books. You, as part of your identity, you want to become a reader. Not many people read. I do. I love reading. That's why I have my little sign, go away, I'm reading. It's meant tongue in cheek, of course. But what was I saying? Okay, so you want to become a reader. Well, that could mean reading 1 page every night before you go to bed. Okay, 1 page. Well, how are you going to set up a system so that you can have success with that? So let's talk about habit stacking that. In the morning, if your current pattern, you've already written down, these are your current habits, are I wake up and I make my bed. I know a lot of people, that's the first thing that they do when they get out of bed is they make their bed, because you automatically start your day with a win, you start your day with a success. So if making your bed is already a part of your current habit, then what you could stack behind that is I'm going to place a book on my pillow, right? And then I'm going to go take my shower. So I've sandwiched it in between. All right, I wake up, I make my bed, and I go take a shower. That's already in existence. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a piece in there. I'm going to place a book on top of my pillow so that when I get in bed tonight, it's already there. It's a cue. It's a reminder that I'm going to read 1 page before I turn out the lights. Does that make sense? I hope that's resonating with you. Okay, let's go through some other examples. Again, we want these to be highly specific and immediately actionable, meaning you're taking action. It's something you're doing, okay, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, what I did is I went through the 7 F words of life. This is what I would like you to do. You've got your guidebook. So use your guidebook. You don't have a worksheet for this yet, but use your guidebook. And go back to either the place that you wrote your plan, your realities, you've got your vision here, you've got the F words here, so you know what they are, right? You can go to the FWordsOfLife.com, forget what they are, they're all there as well, but you've got all of your F words, okay, to remind you which categories they are. So in fundamentals, that's my self-worth and self-care. So what I want you to do is this is action step number 1. I want you to brainstorm in each of the 7 areas of your life, right? Each of the 7 F words of life. I want you to brainstorm rituals that you already do, habits that you do. You should have done that yesterday, but now you can add to it, right? Which category do they belong to? Which needle are they moving? Like, which area of my life is this habit moving or not moving? Right? Then what I want you to do is I want you to brainstorm new habits that you want to create in each area of life. So just write down. So right now, if you're not drinking enough water, drinking, half my body weight in water would be one of the daily rituals that you'd want to do in fitness. In your, family and friends, maybe one thing that you want to do is you want to be more connected to your 5 closest friends. And so a ritual you're going to do is you're going to call one friend every week, a different friend. You're going to put them on a rotation. It doesn't matter. It's your life. You get to design it. But the thing is we don't take the time to do it. So we're always living on autopilot. We're living by default instead of living by design. And what my goal is here is to give you tangible tools that are very easy to do, not easy in the sense of, hey, it takes time and it takes effort, but just something that in 5 minutes, I'm asking for 5 minutes for you to brain dump as many different rituals and habits that you can think of in each area of your life. Then what you can do is you're going to pick one. So this is your action plan. You're going to brain dump in all 7 areas. Then you're going to pick one that you're not currently doing, the one that you want to focus on the most, the one that you feel like would move the needle the fastest, the one that you feel like you could just knock out of the park really easily and just get it locked in and have success with this, okay? However your brain works. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pick that one and you're going to stack it with something you're currently doing, okay? So for example, in fundamentals, the example I wrote is every day I take a shower, right? Every morning I get up, I take my shower. So what I'm going to stack after I shower, I will read my affirmation out loud. Now, I currently live alone, which I don't know if I should say that, but I do. I have lots of neighbors very close by, but I don't feel embarrassed about reading an affirmation out loud. If you have a partner, significant other, kids who are going to think you're crazy, I say do it anyway. Let them think you're crazy, because I think to succeed in life, you got to be a little odd. You got to be a little different. You got to be willing to, to do the things that you know will work, and saying it out loud is more powerful than just reading it. But let's say for you, it's just reading it, right? You've got it in the bathroom. You've got it on a Post-it note. That's going to be your new fundamental self-care ritual / habit that you do, okay? After I do my shower, immediately, I'm going to read my affirmation. I'm going to say my affirmation out loud, whatever it is. Faith. Let me give you an example in faith. And I'm going to do this real quick. I don't know how time goes so quickly when I'm on live with you guys training. I just love it. I love giving this to you. And by the way, I have a new tool that I'm going to reveal tomorrow that I just created again this week. I created one last week for you too. This inspires me to create new tools for you so that you can have success with what we're teaching here. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Faith. You go to bed every night, right? As soon as I go to bed, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say a 1-minute prayer. I'm going to say a prayer of gratitude. I'm going to say a prayer for someone, whatever it is that you believe in. If you don't believe in prayer, whatever your thing is in faith, right, that you're going to do. I'm just giving you some examples to get the wheels turning, right? What else could you do in faith? Well, your meditation, your 1-minute meditation could be in there. Your gratitudes could be in the faith category, where you're going to build in your saying your gratitudes, writing your gratitudes down. It could be expressing thank you to one person every day. It could be giving to the charity, volunteering. So if it's something like volunteering, again, that's more of a scheduled thing. It's not something, unless you do it every day, which is amazing. But if you do it once a week or once a month, when is that going to be? Set it up and schedule it. So that's why I say actions and habits, because some things are these one-time actions or they're once-a-month actions, and they can become habits over time, but you have to make sure that you schedule them like they're an appointment. All right, fitness. I get home from work. I already do that, right? I get home from work at 5:30, let's say, for example. I immediately change into my workout clothes. So if working out in fitness, you're going to do right after you get home from work, the trigger is you immediately go and you put your workout clothes on, right? That's just, you don't worry about what you're going to do. You just, that's the immediate thing that you do. You could do things like this. Every time, instead of it being based on something you currently do, here's another flavor, if you will. Right? So in fitness, a trigger could be every time I see a set of stairs, I'm going to take the stairs instead of the elevator. So now you're doing it on things that you see, that you're kind of reversing the habit. Instead of taking the elevator, I'm going to take the stairs. So every time my cue is, every time I see the stairs, I'm going to take the stairs. Okay? Every time I serve myself a meal, I'm going to put the vegetables on my plate first and smile and be happy about it. Family and friends. Every time I take the kids to school, so if you're somebody who drops your kids off for school in the morning, I'm going to call one person I care about. Maybe all you're doing is leaving them a voicemail, right? But if that's something that's important to you, you can build that every day. I reach out to one person just to see how they're doing. Every time I sit down for dinner, right? If you eat dinner with your family, that's a ritual you already have. That's a habit you have. I'm going to, the first thing that I'm going to do, you say grace. Okay, so we sit down at dinner, we say grace. I know a lot of people do that. If you don't, that's not part of your habit, that's okay. I sit down for dinner. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my kids intentionally, how was your day? And I'm going to listen. So you see how the intentionality behind this, but when you do it every day, now it becomes a ritual. It becomes a habit. It becomes autopilot, like your morning routine when you take a shower and put on your deodorant and brush your teeth without even thinking about it, okay? That's what I want. Finances. So, for example, it could be something like, well, if I'm going to make a purchase over $100 or over $20, over $1,000, whatever your price point is, I'm going to wait 24 hours to do it. So my new habit is I'm going to wait 24 hours. Every time I buy something new, I'm going to give something away. Right? Because you buy new things all the time. That's part of your pattern. So is that the new habit you're going to have? What does that look like? If you're working on tracking your expenses, every time I make a purchase, I'm going to write down what it was for and the amount. I used to do this meticulously when I was first building my personal budget, and you had less than $20 in the bank account and literally couldn't pull money out of the ATM, and I started teaching myself new financial habits. One of the things that you must do is you must track where your money's going. You must know where that is. So if you're not doing that in finances, that ritual of daily tracking may be the new habit that you want to create. We can talk about this more in future training. I'm just trying to give you as many examples as possible. Fulfillment. Fulfillment is your job, your career, your business, or if you're in school, it's school, right? It's kind of what you're doing full-time all day long. So for example, if work is challenging or the people around you are challenging, you get to work every day at whatever time. So you show up, you sit down at your desk, your cubicle, your station, whatever it is, right? And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 3 deep breaths. So you're going to be intentional about being present, being in your body, slowing yourself down, right? Just taking 3 deep breaths. The 3 deep breaths is the new action that we're stacking or habit stacking it to the old habit, okay? Let's see, every time I finish dinner, right? I finish dinner, what are you going to do next? You put your dishes in the dishwasher, you wash them. Maybe that's the next thing that you do. After that, because we're in fulfillment, we're talking about your business or your career or your job and you want to advance, maybe the first thing you're going to do when you finish dinner is that's when you're going to go study that new skill. That's when you're going to go take the online class. That's when you're going to watch the replay of the F Words of Life, and you're going to schedule and ritualize that into your day and your week so that you're getting education every day, right? That's when I'm going to listen to that podcast. That's when I'm going to, whatever it is that you're building a skill so that you're becoming a more marketable person in the workspace, or as a business owner, you're learning a new skill, right? So that's where you can build it in, tie it to something else. So one triggers the other. Finally, in freedom. Freedom is our fun category. It's our freedom, right? And some people go, well, Brenda, by having so much structure, I feel like my freedom's being taken away. You know, I'm so free-spirited. The thing is I'll tell you, I'm one of the most free-spirited people that you'll ever know. I also like structure. I'm kind of weird where I'm a paradox of both, okay? I have both in me. But coaching, over 20,000 hours, 15 years of coaching, training people in groups, teams, organizations, what I will tell you is the key to true freedom is in structure. So when you adopt this and you create the habits and you create the automated processes, it actually creates more freedom. And I had one of my toughest clients who over years became a good friend, and she fought me on this and fought me on this and fought me on this. And finally she said, Brenda, I just gave in one day and I did it. And now she's one of the most structured people I know. Truly, her name is Robin, if you know her. She is one of the most structured people and one of the most successful business people. She's amazingly successful, and she has flat out told me, freedom's created by structure. The structure is what allows me to have the freedom, right? Because it starts creating boundaries. Then this is a whole nother like rabbit trail training that we can go down and we can talk about and we can do if this is interesting to you. So, but in our freedom category, so let's say one of the things that you do is you go to parties, you go to social hours, right? You're going to implement a new activity. What do you want to do? Well, hey, I want to meet more people. I want to have more connections. So when I go do something fun and I'm in a space, I go to a party, I go to a restaurant. Restaurants maybe are a little bit more challenging, but hey, if you're going and you're sitting at the restaurant bar area and you're having dinner, I'm going to introduce myself to the person next to me. I'm going to a party. My new action is I'm going to introduce myself to one person that I didn't know before, right? That's the new behavior that you're creating. Let's say this one. So at the end of dinner, how do we create more freedom? By not rushing in the morning to get ready, right? I want to be calm in the morning. I want to just go through the flow of my day. I don't want to be chaotic, running late. That does not create freedom, my friends. So dinner, right? I finish dinner. I do the dishes. Already there. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to put out my coffee mug and prep my coffee for in the morning, right? That's setting up my day for success. That's creating freedom. Then I'm going to go, maybe I'm going to habit stack another one and say, I'm going to choose my clothes for the next day. By doing this, now you're more streamlined and your day is more efficient. Maybe it's after you get out of work, right? First thing I'm going to do as soon as I get in the car is I'm going to put on my favorite music, right? Be intentional about it. You know, are you just listening to the radio and it's just whatever? Or, hey, when I get in the car, I want to decompress. First thing I do when I get in the car is I'm going to turn on the podcast and stream it so that I can listen to something positive. So this is habit stacking. So you've got two systems. You can use the very simple system of kind of the scheduling method, which is I will do this at this time in this location, right? I will exercise for 45 minutes at 6 p.m. by going to the gym, right? That's the very specific scheduling one. Then what you can also do is use the system of habit stacking. So let's recap your action plan for today to make this all come to life for you. Number one, yesterday you were to make a list of your current habits. I want you to expand on your current habits, and I want you to do it in the 7 areas of the F words of life, okay? So use your guidebook. If you haven't downloaded it, go to thefwordsoflife.com/FWORDS Download your guidebook. It's got all 7 F words there. It gives you a little description of what it is. And I want you to write down the current habits that you have in each of the 7 areas of your life, okay? That's step 1, current habits. Step 2 is I want you to brainstorm all the new types of habits and rituals and things that you want to do in each of the F words of life. Okay, just brainstorm, brain dump it, get it down as many. You can use any example that I shared here. Think of anything that would move the needle in your life, like fitness, water, the amount of water you need to drink every day, the types of foods that you want to eat, but you got to get specific, right? And so then the third step, after you've done all that brainstorming, brain dumping, put it down, I want you to pick one, and I want you to get super specific and use one of the 2 systems where either you're scheduling it or you're using the habit stacking method where one action that you currently do triggers this new behavior. You're going to do it right after. So once I do A, I will do B. I already do A, I will do B right after. Okay? Those are your 2 systems to move the needle. Now, I mentioned I have a new tool that I'm in the process of creating for you. I believe I'll have it done by tomorrow. That's my goal, is to make sure I get that done, and I will reveal that tomorrow. And on tomorrow's live training or the replay, whichever you join, I will go through how you use this tool to actually measure and keep you on track with your current habits that you're doing that are moving the needle in a positive way. Remember, each habit that you do, each action that you take is either casting a vote for the person you want to become, that identity, the best version of yourself, or it's casting a vote against it, right? So I'm eating a healthy salad, that's moving the needle towards where I want to be, or I'm eating a McDonald's cheeseburger, right? If I have 10 McDonald's cheeseburgers and 1 salad, my vote's going in the wrong direction, okay? So that's how I want you thinking about this. So tomorrow, I'm going to give you guys free, just as my gift, a new tool that you can use so that you can stay on track in all 7 F words of life with current positive habits you're doing. You can add your new habits that you're doing, and it will help you stay focused on this, because drift happens so easily. And when you start drifting, that's when you end up, you think you're flying from LA to New York and you end up in Washington, D.C. instead, because you were 3.5 degrees off from the very beginning of your trajectory. And I want you ending up in the destination of that 10-year vision, of your 10 realities, of your one goal, of your focuses. Who is this person you're unlocking and becoming and evolving into? That is the whole purpose of this, okay? That is why the F Words of Life exists. That is why I create training for you, tools for you, do these live for you, and it is truly my pleasure and my honor to be your coach, to be your trainer, to be your teacher, to be your friend, and to be part of your journey. And so for showing up today, I want to tell you I'm proud of you for showing up for yourself. I genuinely mean that. Each time you do a little bit of training, a little bit of work on yourself each and every day, you're also building momentum. You're building a learning habit. You're building a personal development habit. And many people have told me, Brenda, it's so much easier to jump on and watch somebody like you do this. You've done the reading, right? You synthesize it for us, and I can get kind of the Cliff's Notes version, and yet it's still very actionable. It's still something you can take and you can implement. And so, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of the F Words of Life, our little daily dose of coaching. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we unveil the new tool that I'll be sharing with you. And if you're not on my email list, make sure that you are. Go to the FWORDSofLife.com, put your email address in. You'll get an assessment. It's just a free assessment you can download. But then also you'll get my weekly Friday emails. And so when I develop new tools like this that I give away for free, a lot of times I include those just in the Friday newsletter like I did last week. So I'm on a roll 2 weeks in a row with some new tools for you guys. So it's your lucky week. Make sure you're on that email list. Just go to the FWORDSofLife.com, put your email address in, and you'll get my Friday email. And there's always just free good nuggets in there, some tools, and just food for thought to keep you on track. All right, my friends, I hope you make it a great rest of your day. Remember, today, if you're watching this relatively in real time, it's May 1st. It's the first of the month. It's a great time to think about what new habits do you want to implement this month? What F word of life are you going to focus on? What's one habit that you can do? Use one of these two systems to get it into your week, your day, your whatever it is, right? So that this month, May, doesn't go by and we haven't implemented any new actions that, again, are moving the needle towards you fulfilling the life that you're meant to live. And with that, I will say goodnight. I will turn off live social media. And again, this is Brenda Reynolds with the F Words of Life, and thanks for being part of this, and thanks for taking the time out of your day, which I know is so special and precious, to spend a few minutes with me. And I'll see you guys live tomorrow. Take care.